Welcome to the Bramlage Coliseum and ESPN's Big Monday presented by Bud Light. It is part of Rivalry Week presented by Cisco. And tonight, the #1 team in the land, the Kansas Jayhawks, travel to the Little Apples for a Valentine's Day game with the Kansas State Wildcats. Big 12 standings are rather interesting. Jayhawks are #1 in the nation and #2 in the Big 12 behind Texas. But let's focus on Kansas State. Folks, many of the experts, including a majority of the coaches in this conference, thought that K-State was going to win the conference this year. 4-6. So, Coach Bob Knight, you and I have talked about it. A game like this, the #1 team in the nation, what a golden opportunity here.
You know, it's a great chance for redemption, #1, and #2, to get themselves, Kansas State, on the track of being able to compete not just in this league tournament but in the NCAA tournament, because they've got to play more consistently and better than they have thus far in the season to live up anywhere close to what their preseason ranking was.
You know, last Monday night we were, of course, with the Jayhawks in Lawrence. They won the game, but Thomas Robinson injured his knee, underwent surgery on the meniscus. This is one of the best 6 men in the country. How are they going to replace him?
Well, you know, they've got enough that they can do. Little can come off the bench. They can move guys around a little bit. I think they'll be all right with their depth, but I'm in complete agreement with you and your assessment on Robinson. He's just a great kid coming in the game. He works his tail off. He plays hard at both ends. And over the course of a game or a few games, they will miss Robinson. No question about it. Let's take a look at the starting lineup tonight for the visiting Kansas Jayhawks. It's a familiar 5: Tyshawn Taylor, Brady Morningstar, Tyrell Reed, and of course the Morris twins. Now for the home team, Kansas State, Jacob Pullen is in there along with Curtis Kelly, Jamar Samuels, Rodney Magruder, and Shane Southwell. And Holly Rowe, tell me about Josh Selby. They're without Robinson, but will the Jayhawks have him back tonight?
Yes, he is likely to play tonight. Josh Selby of Kansas has been out for the last 3 games with what they're calling a stress fracture in his 5th metatarsal. They've been very cautious with him. He practiced full speed at practice today. For him to end practice, and guys, he looked pretty good. He's thrilled and ready to go, and I saw him jam it with one hand off that bad foot at practice.
So we look forward, Holly, to seeing him. And a turnover following the opening tap, and the Wildcats will bring it back to, of course, in Lawrence earlier this year. They were blown out, the Wildcats were.
Well, you don't see that kind of a play with Kansas to open the game very much. Taylor's pass was one that was a little bit questionable. See, this is one thing I think Kansas State has to do. They've got to make Kansas play defense. They've got to have good patience looking to get a shot, and then they've got to get good shots.
Jacob Pullen got through, follow up underneath, and they miss on 2 attempts. Samuels could not follow it up.
They've got to be able to take advantage of those good scoring opportunities.
There is the 3-point basket by Brady Morningstar, and then he hustles back to the other end of the floor and knocks the ball out of bounds. So it'll be out of bounds. Wildcats basketball, far sideline. I remind those of you who have 3D, you're going to be able to watch our high definition television, and you'll be able to watch our 2 coaches. Kelly puts it down on the floor and scores.
You know, when you look at Kansas, Brent, and you look at Morningstar and Taylor, they are big kids. They're big kids for perimeter players, strong kids.
Marcus Morris finishes at the other end for the Jayhawks. Coming back inside by Jamar Samuels active down low. They seem determined to get something down there tonight.
Well, if they can continue with that, they're going to hurt the Morris twins. But Kansas has got to get some help down there. And one thing K-State has to do is they've been beaten down the floor on 2 possessions here thus far in the ball game, and they've got to do a better job with conversion defense.
Ball goes over to Kansas State on the possession arrow.
I think I've been impressed with the fact that Kansas State has come down and they've taken their time. They've been patient. You know, it's like, okay, we'll be willing to win 65-63.
Indeed. Kelly is fouled. Markeith Morris commits the personal, picks up his first.
Kelly and Samuels definitely have the ability and the size and strength to compete against the Morris twins inside.
Pullen works a screen beautifully to hit the field goal. Terrific help on top by Southwell.
Southwell is a player that hasn't played all that much, and he certainly helped them here in the beginning.
And now Pullen gets it back.
And sets things up on the offensive end. Now that's something that he hasn't done in the past. He did a great job here.
And Southwell converts, so they trade off back from the backcourt and build a three-point lead. Jump hook misses by Keith, and back comes Pullen again. Little hesitation, stop and go, and he traveled, but he took the step. John Higgins made the call.
He just took it too far there. He didn't need to go as far as he did there. All right, here's a really good move by Pullen, but it was set up well by Southwell. Kansas looks to reverse the ball. They do a good job of it. They go to Markeith on one side. Then it'll come back to Marcus on the other side.
And Marcus knocks it down.
When they reverse the ball like that, the defense has got to move with the ball so they can help out on the postman.
Samuels misfires outside, and it's Jayhawk basketball.
Kansas is a very good team at bringing the ball down, waiting to see what they've got, set it up, and then run an offense. And they had a great example there of Morningstar reversing the ball and then getting it inside to Morris. Okay, here's the movement down the floor. Morningstar is going to hold it up. Now they're going to reverse the ball and end up looking down. The Morrises look for each other extremely well, and that's why we've got Marcus on the foul line right now.
Johnson a little, Henriquez for K-State, and Spradlin. So both coaches with double substitutions. Taylor comes over to Bill Self, and Markeith Morris is out. His brother, of course, remains at the free throw line. Here is Spradlin, the freshman for the Wildcats, seeing his first action. Self wanted to talk to his point guard, so he's going to let Johnson operate on the point and pick up Pullen with a little more aggressive defense here. Beautifully, Henriquez Roberts. And it'll go over. So a big start for Kansas State. Well, a very positive start here for Kansas State, and they lead it 10-8.
Well, you know, I think they've done something that we've not seen them do in the past, Brett. They have been really active and looking to go inside with the ball, and their big guys have really responded to it. Roberts is going to get the ball in the post. Kansas State kind of leaves him alone, and he makes a great spin move using the board. But that's like the third or fourth really good opportunity they've had inside.
Kansas sets up some pressure.
Johnson's a very, very good one-on-one defender, and he's in to play Pullen. They'll alternate between Taylor and Johnson a lot to keep as much pressure on Pullen as they can.
Magruder handling the ball for the Wildcats. Samuels rotates out on top. Sloppy entry pass.
You know, that was a good pass. The postman just slipped a little bit on it and going to get the ball.
Lob in deep. Marcus couldn't get the handle and he turns it over. Johnson hounding Pullen. Pullen takes it baseline and Johnson fouls it. Kelly returns, and checking in for the Jayhawks, Jeff Withy, the 7-foot reserve center.
Pullen's got to be careful with that. He got out of it with a foul that time, but he was taking the ball where he wasn't going to do anything with it, and he lost it the last time he tried to go in there. They operate so much better with Pullen just handling the ball up on top, go from one side to the other, and look for their big kids inside, Henriquez and Kelly right now. And then Samuels, when he's in, there's a great cut by Pullen.
And fine defensive play by Mario Little, who is off the Jayhawk bench. Watch this replay.
All right, here we're going to get a good look inside. Real good help comes across, and Kansas ends up with the ball. Help defense save the bucket.
Now Little comes up firing. Kelly triple team, throws it up left-handed, and got the foul.
Did a good job right there going to the line.
Well, tomorrow night we've got SEC, Mississippi State, and Kentucky, followed by Big Ten, Michigan State, Ohio State. Ohio State will attempt to get back on the winning track after losing that game in Madison to Wisconsin. And how about the performance by Jordan Taylor of the Badgers? Magnificent. Josh Selby has checked in for the first time. Johnson will sit down.
Now, one of the things that K-State can really work with here is Spradling with the ball. Get the ball in his hands a lot, let Pullen work to get open. Spradling has very, very good judgment with the basketball.
Morningstar fires the three off the iron, tracks down the miss. Here's Selby kicking to Taylor. Taylor defended on the three. Little cleans up underneath.
Well, that was kind of an unusual shot for Taylor to take. Their shot selection hasn't been all that good so far, Kansas.
Yeah, that was certainly an opportunity hoop underneath.
Oh, my goodness.
Pullen's going to pull the trigger on the three ball.
That time, Pullen did not put the ball on the floor at all. He came off the screen, he caught it and shot it. That's where I think he's more effective. He did that so much last year when Clemente was the other guard. And now, when he puts it on the floor, he has a tendency to get in trouble with it.
The Morris twins check back in.
All right, we're going to see Pullen come off the baseline now. A double screen set, and he gets set and hits it. That's the second three that he's hit. But in neither case did he put the ball on the floor prior to the shot.
So we will take a break at the 12:55 mark. Kansas State with a 5-point lead. Well, even though they are rivals, it has been a very, very one-sided series. Kansas has won 42, Coach, of the last 44 games.
When you showed that to me, I thought that was just unbelievable because K-State has had a great basketball tradition and history, but I couldn't imagine anything would be that unbalanced.
And the Jayhawks better watch out. Pullen just drained his second three.
Kansas is going to take a little bit more time now and work inside. They'll get to the free throw line if they do. The thing that Kansas does really well, among other things, when those big guys get the ball, Morris is on the baseline, they leave enough room to drive the baseline. Too many guys get the ball against the baseline, and the only way they can drive is come back to the middle. You've got to be able to go either over or under the defensive man along the baseline. All right, now you're going to see there, he can fake or go either way. Here he decides to go. He's got plenty of room going to the baseline, draws the foul. Pullen's just had that one possession. Actually two, I guess, where I thought he's a little bit out of sync with everybody. Other than that, he's worked to get open.
Samuel steps out. Latavius Irving seeing some action. Deflected by Markieff. Out of bounds.
I think we'll see the ball in Spradling's hands some because he's very good with it. He sees the floor extremely well.
Pump fake. Now firing and drew the foul.
Now,
just what you would have taught him.
Hey, I'm going to stand and clap on that move because he made a great move to get open. He came off the screen to get open, as we're going to see right here. Watch him come off this baseline screen. There he is. And then he delays it and doesn't take a shot until he knows there's going to be contact. That's one of my favorite plays of the year, Brent, that Pullen made right there. Uno. Dos coming up. We're going to have Dos. Watch this. This will go uno, dos, tres. I know that you're sitting there thinking those are the only three Spanish words I know.
I didn't want to say that. I know you know Cuatro.
Well, I got uno, dos, tres there.
Oh, 10 points, 11 points, because he got twice, and he gets a break. But I wouldn't let him sit very long the way he's playing tonight, Frank.
No, I wouldn't either. Kansas State is playing with a real purpose out here tonight. All those kids are really into what they're doing. They're working with each other. That is very good call. Steve Sloan's very good referee. Steve Olson, rather, very good referee. Made a great call right there on an offensive foul.
Look what we've got here. Come on back, everybody. Well, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. 21-11. Kansas State, and speaking of Valentine's Day, Coach Knight, you got a few bouquets to hand out here, man.
Well, you know, the first Valentine bouquet from me, Brent, is going to be to Jerry Sloan. Jerry just retired from coaching a few days ago, and there's nobody that was a better example for how to play the game than Jerry was. As good as he was, he put everything he had into it, and he was the same thing as a coach. He was a great example for coaches. I love Jerry Sloan and what he contributed to basketball. My next bouquet is to my wife, Karen. She's the best coach I know. She's the best teacher I know. She's the best fishing buddy I've ever had. And so I hope she has a happy Valentine's Day.
Very nice, Coach. What a soft spot in that heart. Are you ever mellowing? Holly Rowe, How much love is being handed out in that Kansas huddle right now?
Exactly 0. Bill Self was so mad. He just said, guys, this is a beatdown right now. Have some poise. He cannot believe that they're letting Jacob Pullen beat him by themselves. He also said, you guys have got to quit being so baby-like out there. If you're going to foul, make it count for something. He is so frustrated. 0 Valentine hugs.
You know, one of the things is that to back up what Holly's saying, Kansas just went into a zone on that possession because they weren't able to control things man-to-man.
And Marquis for the fine block on Southwell. And Little is able to get it off Southwell out of bounds. It's only 3rd time this year that the Jayhawks have been down by double digits. And of course they lost that game to Texas in the second half. And here they trail Kansas State 21-11. Magruder replaces Southwell. So Little tried to get it off him, but could not, and it will be walked at basketball. Let me correct myself on that. And it is off Kelly, who tracks it down. Pullen comes free again. Leans in, and he's on the free throw line.
Now, if he makes these 2, that'll be 5 points that Kansas has given up with careless defensive play with Pullen's fakes. Both times he's gone into the defensive man, and that defensive man has closed the gap himself. So they've got to do a better job just staying in front of Pullen and not jumping into him. This might be Cuatro and Cinco here.
No.
I know you're surprised I got the Cinco.
You know, Pullen has scored, Coach, the last 9 points, and then he misfires on 2 free throws.
Well, he's a pretty good free throw shooter to miss both of them. Kansas got to get something going here.
Offensive foul.
I think this, Brent, I think Kansas is a little bit amazed right now at how well Kansas State is playing. I'm not so certain, but what they didn't come over here after they'd beaten them so bad at home in Lawrence and then think the same thing's going to happen, because this is a much different K-State team than they played against in Lawrence.
Well, Markieff Morris just picked up his 2nd foul on this, and you know, despite the fact that they've lost a lot of games in the Big 12 this year, when you take a look at the K-State resume overall, it honestly is not that bad. Now, I know everybody's saying, hold on, they're only 4-6, and I agree with that. But they have done some very good things in non-conference games. They have played some tough teams. I know they lost to Duke, for example, back in December. They have not beaten the top 50 teams, however. That's why tonight is so critical for them.
Well, I don't think they have played with the kind of patience they've had tonight. I don't think they've played to their strengths. I think this is the best that I think I've seen Pullen play, with the exception of 1 or 2 times when he got carried away with things. As long as he fits in with his shooting and gets the ball to people, then he's a real threat out there. But when he starts pounding it on the floor and trying to create things going to the bucket, it hurts him.
Exactly. Well, they're making sure that it's Markieff Morris. When Higgins came over, he threw up the 2 and the 1, and that will be the 2nd foul. So he's looking at 21, and then he walked over and he went 2-1. There was no question about that. But now they're double checking to make sure.
I think that's a really good thing when an official makes a call and then he's not quite sure of it, to just say, wait a minute, let's make sure we get this right. I think that's always a sign of a good official.
And they didn't question that was Markieff, you know, on that. If that's the foul that John called, see a little doubt in my mind. Was it a flagrant up in the neck area? They're going to call it intentional is what they're going to do. They weren't looking at the person. They were looking at whether or not it was intentional. He's showing Bill that the elbow came up. So 2-shot foul, and they'll get the ball. Well, you heard Hawley report that if you're going to make a foul, get all of it. And they did.
Well, you know, like I mentioned, I always appreciate the officials looking at something a second time if there's any question at all. I think that's a mark of a good crew.
Well, each of the Morrises now with 2 fouls, Holly, so they're in a little bit of trouble here early.
Guys, this has actually been a little bit of a problem creeping up for the Morris twins throughout the course of this season. Marquez was ejected in a game at Cal for this elbow rule, and he was pulled out of the starting lineup for 2 games. He also got a technical at Nebraska, and then Markeith, this is his second flagrant. He had a flagrant last week against Missouri. He's also had a technical, so Coach has been talking to them about their temper, just playing a little bit more within themselves. This is something they've definitely had issues with this season.
This is a kind of situation when you look back on it, if things stay like they are, Brent, you always, when you're like Kansas, you would rather play a good opponent away from home in the first game and then have them come back to you in the second game. Now what Pullen did there was, instead of looking for himself, he made a great pass to the baseline, and it resulted in 2 free throws. I think Samuels is shooting the free throws, and 2 free throws instead of a shot. Again, Pullen makes a play that's team-oriented.
Well, Pullen has scored the last 11 Kansas State points. So that puts him up there, and now Samuel snaps that streak.
Well, you know, Pullen scored those points being a part of team play also. And rather than in a situation where he was trying to do so many things for himself with the ball, that makes a huge difference in this team.
So the Jayhawks now with the largest deficit they've faced this season.
Kansas State doing a very good job of pressuring the perimeter. They're not giving those perimeter players a lot to look at from out there. And there, K-State, the first time they hadn't helped on a drive.
And Reed drives through for a big hoop for the Jayhawks. And Roberts backs it down.
You just can't let a postman bounce the ball twice in the lane. Withy needed some help in there, and he didn't get it. If you're going to give up 2 bounces to a postman, he's going to have a good chance to score.
Turned it over on the dribble.
See, that's where Pullen hurts this team. He gets carried away with the basketball, and he tries to do too much with the ball. Now, he's done such a great job of getting Kansas State almost single-handedly into the position they're in, and I hate to see him make a play like that.
The runner by Taylor. So, and he gets a chance now to add a free throw.
You know, we've talked before, Brent, when somebody starts a drive out on the perimeter, he's moving toward the bucket, that's when the help has to move. And on this situation, K-State was late getting there, and instead of stopping the drive, they gave up the foul.
Spradley replaces Irving.
I think with Spradley in the game, they've got a chance of letting Pullen move without the ball a lot. Now maybe that's looks like they're going to try to do it a little bit here.
Floater on the money.
Now that was not just a reckless move on Pullen's part. He gauged that, he's held up the dribble, and then he saw a move and took it.
Marcus can't finish. Jacob Pullen coming up over the top now. Great hustle by Jacob Pullen at this end as he comes up over. Now watch him as he comes flying toward the table. And it fortunately was not at all injured. He collided with a stats monitor over here, computer. And then he got up and he apologized.
And then you know he's going to get 2 points out of his hustle. Now this is the pull and plan that I think we expected to see all year long. And this kid playing this way is an awfully good guard.
He's one of the best players in the conference when he plays like this.
All right, we're going to get a little look at Pullen right here when he uses really good judgment on the drive. He's got the ball in the dribble. Now he sees the opening. He backs off. It's closed. And now he takes it all the way to the bucket. And he pulls up without trying to challenge those big men as he goes to the basket. That little 8-foot jump shot is a great asset to a guard driving to the bucket.
Wednesday night, ACC at 7 Eastern. Duke, number 5 against Virginia. And then at 9, Oklahoma State will play number 2, Texas. It's interesting some of the different things that being tried by ESPN. I mentioned earlier tonight that if you've got high definition, you can watch ISO shots on our 2 coaches. Nolan Smith is going to be isolated in that Duke game that I mentioned. And tomorrow night, a referee is going to wear a microphone at the Michigan State-Ohio State game, and you will have access to that. So some special and unique perspectives being offered up by the family of networks this week, and we'll see how that turns out. Can you imagine a referee wearing a microphone during a basketball game?
I really can't. I'd rather they just didn't have. See, I don't like that because that referee is going to pay attention to what he's saying. He's going to think about saying the right thing. I think that's a mistake to allow that to happen. Just let him concentrate on the game.
You're old school.
I don't want him. He's got a whistle. Let him concentrate on that. Morris makes a great move here by utilizing the baseline, and Kansas State again did not take away that baseline. When there's a drive being made, defensive man, get your foot on the baseline, and he can't go anywhere because the baseline is the best defender in basketball. Pullen gets in the mix now. He's not out there handling the ball. How good is that? Sets it up, brings it back out.
Cross court 3, rims out. Little with the left hand.
We talked about Little, and you talked about him a lot the last time we had Kansas, and he's a very, very effective postman. He made a great fake to his left shoulder, came back to his right shoulder.
Yeah, because he had that career high 17 points in 16 minutes last Monday against Missouri back in Lawrence. All right, we got a couple field goals here tonight. Coming inside of 8 minutes. Kelly puts it down, spins on Marcus. Samuels going for the rebound, and the foul is on Kansas State. So we will take a break, and when we come back, Bob Knight is going to tell you what's been bothering the Jayhawks tonight. All right, Reese, and here Kansas State leads Kansas by 10, and once they're up by 14, Bob, give us the big view of what's happened to the Jayhawks.
Well, you know, I attribute this to human nature. You know, you won a game easily at Lawrence. You think you're going to have maybe the same thing when you come back and play at Kansas State. you're just not alert to the fact that, hey, things can change. This team plays a little differently. They're going to be much tougher to play against. And I think that's been the problem. I don't think they were as mentally ready to play here as they were in Lawrence.
They can cut it to single digits here.
Human nature is a terrible opponent.
It is that. Taylor misses. Defensive rundown. And here comes Pullen bringing it back.
And you know, it's very tough. I don't care how many timeouts you take or what you do at the halftime. Getting their focus changed back to what it's got to be to win a game like this is a very difficult coaching maneuver.
Curtis Kelly just picked up his second personal foul, so an empty trip. And that could help the Jayhawks here with 6.5 minutes to go in the first half.
But Brent, a great recruiting question to ask. If I were recruiting you, I'm going to say, are you subject to human nature? And if you say no, I said, well, I want you playing for me. Kansas State's defense has been as effective as its offense.
Reed, nice baseline jumper. He's hit both of his field goal attempts here tonight, and now it's down to single digits again. Remember, it was once 14 at the 8:36 mark, and now at the 6:01 mark, it is 8. And now Frank is starting to get a little riled up. You think?
These 6 minutes right here may be the defining 6 minutes in the season for the Kansas State Wildcats. See if they've done well. They've built a lead. Now can they sustain this play? Can they keep the lead? Can they increase it? This will be a very, very important 6 minutes for Kansas State.
And Holly, what was frustrating Coach Martin?
Well, guys, that's exactly something they went over in their scouting today. That's something they talked about over and over and over. He could have said it 100 times, talking about pressuring the ball, and Tyrell Reed just made a nice little move to get wide open there. He was so frustrated because that's exactly what they covered.
Enriquez Roberts comes out high and pulling on a drive with the left hand.
Reed had to come off that immediately. As soon as Pullen put the ball on the floor, Reed had to slide over, and by not doing that, he gave him the move all the way to the bucket. Again, Pullen saw the opening, and that wasn't a dribble move. That was just a hard move to the bucket.
19 for Pullen. Over the top, and Marcus finishes with authority.
Well, the big kids for K-State have got to keep the ball from going over top of him. When that kid steps out high, let him go out and stay behind him. Don't give away that lob pass.
They have got to track Jacob Pullen. He is carrying the scoring load here for K-State. Up over the top, the three on the money. He's on fire. By far the best we've seen him play this year, Coach.
No question about it.
Now they turn it over the Jayhawks too.
All right, we're going to see the drive right here. He sees an opening. Now, right there is where he usually gets into trouble. But there he had a chance to take it all the way to the bucket. He gets set. He's got a lot of confidence in his shot because that's the third shot he's hit from outside like that. And I think 4 attempts.
Bob, his season high is 26. He has 22, Jacob Pullen does, in the first half. Shades of Jordan Taylor. Knocked out of bounds this time, and so it will be Wildcat ball with 18 on the shot clock. If you did not see Wisconsin's second half performance, it is worth going to ESPN3 and dial it up and take a look at it. I thought it was the best individual performance of the season that I've watched. I have not seen them all, but that was absolutely magnificent.
Kansas State's got to go back to a little high-low. You know, they just got the one postman, Enrique Roberts, in there right now.
He had an open look on that shot now. Battle low block, and so Reed comes in and 1. I don't know if the official made the call. Yes, counted. Yep. Absolutely. I was going to say for a minute, I didn't know that Steve knew whether or not the ball gone in the basket.
This is a really tough bucket here that Reed gets. Now, the postman gets hung up on the offensive postman. There's good help, and the foul should have taken away the shot, but it didn't. Reed was strong enough to force it up through the foul, and so here he is with the 3 chance.
Tyrell Reed helping to lead the Jayhawks back in this game slowly. Magruder's 3. Marcus Morris had great rebounding position. Tyrell Reed has been a ringleader of this comeback. And Marcus a little short on that 3 ball.
I think the Jayhawks would far rather Morris did something from inside than out.
Enriquez Roberts from Jacob Pullen.
And you know what a great pass that was by Pullen. He was looking all the way to the bucket for a chance to drop it off.
Johnson nails a big 3 for the Jayhawks. They're back to 8.
That was a huge basket for Kansas right there.
Stolen by Reed. They've got numbers. They got 3-on-1, and Marcus has to track it down. They lose the advantage. They had a great break, and they could not convert it. Valentine's Day in Manhattan. All right, Reese, thank you very much. And here it's 37-29. The Wildcats have played perhaps their best half of the season. Certainly Jacob Pullen has been their star. Inside of that 3-minute mark.
I like the way they are using Spradling now to bring the ball in and let Pullen play without the ball. He's so quick that he gets a little 2-step break on the defender, and then something good is going to happen. Spradling will break out. No, he gives it back.
And they trap Pullen. So he gets it inside.
Checking in for Kansas, number 21, Jordan Enriquez Roberts, and number 12, Nick Russell.
Not sure I saw what happened there.
That was the count of 3 seconds.
That's what I meant. I'm not sure I saw what happened. Now K-State's in the zone.
Run back and a beautiful follow-up by Travis Relaford, his first shot of the night. And he has made this a 6-point game. Remember, they were down by 14 now, and the #1 team slowly coming back.
You talked about that when they had that 14-point lead. You know, the greatest zone coach of all was Claire B. And I used to argue with him, Coach, how do you block out in the zone? And I never got a satisfactory answer on it. And he's the smartest guy I ever saw in basketball. And right there was an example. K-State got a rebound bucket against the zone.
Now traveling. So Kansas State has turned it over 2 times. Well, Frank is not happy with Higgins. 3-second violation and in traveling.
Well, that was a traveling call. There's no question about that. And that again is Pullen doing something that wasn't there. He's been so good, so many possessions, but then one like that just takes away an opportunity for him to score.
And the Jayhawks give it right back with a horrible pass. Jordy Nelson is sitting over here, and that pass I think was intended for him. Jordy, of course, Kansas State hero, playing with the Green Bay Packers. Had a huge night, scored the first touchdown for the Packers, and Bill Snyder was his coach here at Kansas State. He's here tonight. Bill Snyder is the coach who switched him from defensive back to wide receiver, and the Packers want to send their thanks for that. 6-point game now. Jacob Pullen with the ball. It's Magruder.
Pullen just kept the dribble alive there so he could make the pass when the screen was set, and Magruder came off of it on the other side. Now, that was real smart by Pullen.
Rutherford off the iron. Here comes Pullen now. Got a one-on-one. Going to try to come through, and he's fouled.
We're going to see Pullen really have patience right here. He waited till the screen was set and then fed the shooter. Good bucket there. Now here, it's a breakaway, it's a conversion play, and that's when you can take the ball all the way to the bucket, because there's a very high percentage chance in converting to offense that you're going to draw a foul if you take it to the bucket.
Rims back out again tomorrow night, of course. We've got SEC, Kentucky. And aren't they happy to be going back home? Can't win on the road in the SEC, but they host Mississippi State. And the Buckeyes will host Michigan State, another team. That would be the Spartans looking for redemption, and they'll get an opportunity tomorrow night in Columbus against an angry bunch of Buckeyes. 23 points for Jacob Pullen. Reed lost it underneath. Maintain control.
K-State did a good job covering the baseline that time. Reed had what looked like a chance to go, and K-State shut it out. They were lucky that they got the ball back on that play.
Josh Selby back on the floor for the Jayhawks. And a foul is going to be called down on the inside, and it is against Kansas State's Rodney Magruder. Watch the right side.
All right, a little bit of hand action coming across the lane there, and sometimes that just can't be helped. Well, it's an interesting spot to put Selby in the game, Brett. He hasn't played for a couple weeks, and now putting him in the middle of something like this is that's interesting.
The man of the half, Jacob Pullen. And Enriquez Roberts makes it a 9.
Made a great move right there. Caught it, spun, and shot right away. Very quick. He was quicker with the offense than the defense was on him.
Selby misfires on the 3. So the Wildcats are going to take a lead into the locker room. Largest halftime deficit this season as they give up the most points in the first half, 42, trail it by 9. Welcome back to ESPN's Big Monday. It's presented by Bud Light. It's part of Rivalry Week presented by Cisco on ESPN. The Bramlage Coliseum, Manhattan, Kansas, the #1 team in the nation, trailing 42-33. And the man who lit them up in the first half, Jacob Pullen, 6 of 11. And Coach Bob Knight, he hit all 3 of his threes, but I think you were more impressed with how he ran the floor.
You know, I think that we've seen him have a tendency to go where he shouldn't be going, to take too much of a chance with the dribble, and that just didn't happen but a couple of occasions. Now here, he catches it and shoots it. He's on good balance. He could shot fake out of this, just like he's going to in a moment. Here they're going to come. Now he draws the 3 with the shot fake. And as long as he looks for people, he hesitates like he did there. Great drop-off pass. He's a tremendous asset to his team.
Let me talk about Markieff Morris. He played only 8 minutes in the first half. He's back on the floor right now. Reed misses the first shot, gets his own miss, drives in, and there's a blocking foul on K-State to open the half. Let me go back on Markieff now. He took only 1 field goal attempt in that first half. He did not have a single rebound. He's coming off a double-double. He's had 9 double-doubles this season. If you want to point at one player that Bill Self needs to get turned around, remember he had that intentional foul called against him, and he sat out the majority of the half. But he will open up with his twin brother, and we'll see how that works out as Reed hits a free throw. Coach.
You know, a player we haven't mentioned much, though, that I think had a big part of K-State's first half is Southwell. Southwell's done a lot of things out there at both ends of the floor, and he started the second half because of that, I think.
And Henriquez Roberts was 4 of 4 off the bench. So we will see the 7-footer. He does not start. And I should quickly tell you that Jamar Samuels now has 3 fouls for the Wildcats. So here we go. Settle in, everybody. Can they hang on here at home? There's a whole lot of folks around the country that are pulling for this upset. Longhorns, Buckeyes, Blue Devils, Panthers, they all want a share of that prize. And Kelly turns it over. Here comes Reed. Foot race. Up over the top. One and done. And Pullen will bring it back. Transition missed the 3. It's been up and down. Not much patience. Great lead pass. Taylor and 1. You got to wrap him up. If you're going to give that foul, young man, make sure he doesn't pull the trigger.
We know this is a very, very poor shot taken by Pullen. No time used, no thought used, and that's a big 3 to give up at this point in the game. That's just what K-State cannot afford to let this game get into a tie.
And as a result of that one bad 3, he sits him. I'm not sure with the way that Pullen has played today. Coach, I'm going to ask you, would you yank him after one bad play like that, or would you just work him over when he goes down the floor?
I think I'd say something to him. I agree with you. The way he's playing, the good has far outstripped the bad.
No question.
And let's let him say, don't get back to that. Don't fall into that habit again.
Exactly.
You know, we got to use time. Make these guys guard us.
Spradling on a beautiful turnaround.
Great move, great fake, good pass. Now they got that out of patience. Ball reversal and Spradling's cut inside.
Yeah, here's Marcus down low from his brother. Faces up Kelly up over the top. Rattles away. Wildcat basketball.
All right, now that was a great defensive job done in there because they got help and they couldn't make the pass inside.
Bad entry pass. The Twins were there. This is Marcus. In case you're wondering, he's 7 minutes younger than Markieff. Bounce pass, and here is Markieff working it back to Taylor. Taylor on the floater in the lane, short, but there's contact, and it goes against the Jayhawks. Oh, that's his 3rd, Marcus. That's number 30, and Pullen is quickly back on the floor, and Little will check in. And Marcus Morris with 3 fouls will have to sit down. And Self is unhappy. He's unhappy with Higgins. He's unhappy with the official on that call.
Now Pullen's back in. That's good. Frank got him back in, said something to him, got him back in. Keep the ball in Spradling's hand a lot and let Pullen play without it.
Got 10 on the shot, Coach. No foul call. Good defense by Markieff. Pass out of Taylor.
Really, really good help defense right there, but very good help defense.
Pullen drives through and a blocking foul. He's on the free throw line. And the freshman Selby is ready to check back in for Coach Self.
Kelly was very alert to what was going on down there and took away the opportunity for Kansas to take the ball to the bucket. His play resulted in the turnover that's going to lead to 2 points here. Well, there isn't anything when you're sitting on the bench in any kind of a game, Brent, and you've got kids that react to what the offense is doing, and your defense, they see it, they're observant, they slide to move, they help. That's what's so great about the game of basketball from a coaching standpoint, is watching kids do what they're taught to do.
And now, Holly, what did Jacob Pullen have to say to the team before he came back for the second half?
Well, he gathered his teammates in the tunnel, and before they took the floor, he said, guys, don't let one play turn into 2 bad plays here. You know they'll go on a run. We have to do this together. We have to play hard, work hard. And when they broke the huddle, their chant was together.
25 points for Jacob now.
I think that Kansas State has done just what they had to do to put themselves in position to win this game. They've not let Kansas, there's a chance there where Kansas was going to tie it up, but K-State's kept them from doing that.
And Reed is back on the free throw line. Enriquez Roberts commits the personal foul.
Now, Enrique Roberts has got to go at Reed with his hands up in the air, make him shoot over those hands. You may get a piece of it, but not move forward with your arms and your hands. That's what happened there. You let him make him shoot over you. Don't try to take the ball away from him, because you got a really good chance of hitting him on the arm, and that's what happened here.
Tyrell Reed with 11 points here tonight.
Another bucket right here would be really important for Kansas, as would a bucket right now for Kansas State.
Southwell going to pull a trigger, short. And Kelly goes in, and it's a held ball, and it's Kansas State basketball.
Possession, Kansas State.
They've done a good job getting Pullen loose after, not that time.
Boy, is Reed having a big game. And Enriquez Roberts came up and fouled him. Tyrell Reed is playing as well as we've seen it, Bob.
Oh, yeah, they really have. Now, Reed's played really well here, and Enrique Roberts comes in. Boy, he had to just be a little bit more careful than that. If he doesn't go at him that hard, he may have had a chance to stay about 5 feet away and then tip the ball out. That's a little bit of a gift here for the Jayhawks.
Tyrell is a senior from Burlington, Kansas. When you take a look at the Jayhawk roster, there aren't many seniors. Brady Morningstar and Tyrell Reed, of course, are the two most important, and then Mario Little off the bench. And Taylor, Tyshawn Taylor from Hoboken, New Jersey, checks back in for the Jayhawks. And they have trimmed it down to 5. Once down by 14 in the first half. Very much back in the thick of it.
Now, K-State can't get in a hurry. K-State can't panic. They can't say, well, we've got to score. We've just got to keep doing what they've been doing. There's a holding foul over there, I think, on Taylor.
Down low. It's Selby, I think, on the other side.
Selby. Yeah, I think it was Selby on the baseline.
And that's his first personal foul. So fresh shot clock for the Wildcats here. 16.
Well, great
07.
cut.
Great cut and
good bucket.
Goaltending.
Great cut by Spradling and an excellent look on the pass, and that's what got him. That's a big basket for Kansas State right there. That's what a kid like Spradling does for you. He sees what's there. He makes that cut. That's the best cut we've seen in the game.
Little with the jump step. Got into trouble. And a reach-in foul by the Jayhawks. It's on Mario Little.
That was a very, very poor possession for Kansas.
We welcome you back to Manhattan, Kansas. The Wildcats upsetting the #1 team by 7. And the Morris brothers struggling here tonight mightily. You can see the combined 10 points all by Marcus. Field goals, 3 of 8. And rebounds, 2. And Markieff is looking for his first point and his first rebound in this game.
Yeah, the Morrises just haven't been into the game like we've seen them in the past. They've just kind of been out there like, well, you know, this is another game, instead of, hey, we've got to do X, Y, and Z to win this game. The patience again is what's going to make all the difference.
Mario Little saves it, but he had stepped out on the hustle play over here on the sideline, so it will be K-State ball right there.
They just have 11 seconds now because there wasn't any possession.
So Pullen's going to go ahead and take it himself with 5. Going to go for it on the drive and then throw it back. Got hung up, got too far in on the inside.
You just had to have people moving, and he's talking to Magruder. The coach is talking to Magruder, I think, about getting some movement inside, but they just had to get something more out of that possession than they got.
15:05. Markieff hits it to the corner. 3 ball not there, and look at all Gray underneath, sealing up for the defensive rebound. Jayhawks trying to do with the defense right now if they can. Enriquez Roberts, yes, and he is 5 of 5 for the field tonight.
Boy, he has got a long stride, and he went from outside the lane across the lane in one dribble. He went about 18 feet in one bounce and 2 steps. That was a great offensive move.
He could create some matchup problems. And finally, Markieff Morris, his brother Marcus, ready to check back in at the next stoppage. The lead is 7.
There's another good cutter inside.
And it is Magruder finishing.
K-State is cutting across toward the ball.
Got it back.
In the half-court offense, and they've got somebody coming to the ball all the time.
And then a floater. Back-to-back field goals by Rodney Magruder. Timeout, Bill Self.
Magruder has put them in a great position here coming out at the timeout.
Message. This is one of the great crowds in college basketball when the team performs, and they are performing here tonight. If you're just joining us, they have dictated this entire game. And there Markieff is coming to the free throw line on the foul. Bob, you and I have talked about what a crowd can mean to a basketball team in a situation like this.
Well, I think the atmosphere is really, really great, obviously. And the better teams in the country have great atmosphere at home. Every really good team has great atmosphere at home. And when you don't have that, you're not the equal of somebody that does have it, and they've got tremendous atmosphere here.
As they did last Monday night in Lawrence when the Jayhawks beat Missouri.
And, you know, we've seen that. Texas has got good atmosphere, and those 5 schools that we mentioned earlier in the beginning that could all beat each other and were at the top, everyone has great atmosphere. That's a big miss of 2 points for Kansas right there.
13-5 left.
When they reverse the ball, they get good cutters coming across the lane, just like they had there.
Pullen, nice touch on that jumper.
He got set. He had enough room. He knows when he's got enough room, and he got set there.
Markeith flips it over underneath to his brother Marcus.
What Kansas has to do to get back in this ball game is do what they're doing on the offensive end, but they've got to get some defensive stops down there because they had it down to 6 at one time, and then with what they did offensively, K-State went 13 ahead, and they did it by cutting and reversing the ball.
So Jacob Pullen with a huge night.
There's a cutter. Ooh, he missed him down inside.
Irving holds the basketball and Kelly steps out. Samuels waits for Pullen, and now we're down to 10. Kelly forces it back outside. Irving penetrates, driving layup.
That's just a bucket you can't allow. He's got to get to the bucket because time's running out on the clock. And again, Kansas had absolutely no help defense.
No offense. Swung his arm now. Watch Self. Self has not been happy with Higgins tonight.
But now what happened there, though? Kansas State moved to help out. And the drive got caught in a little bit of a trap, and he tried to elbow his way out of it.
Self wants a timeout. But I think the elbow was thrown right in front of Coach, so he's not indicating that he's going to go after Higgins on this one. But it's been close with those two tonight. And a reminder that Wednesday night college basketball continues on ESPN2. First at 7 Eastern, Duke will take on Virginia. And how about the Blue Devils rally against North Carolina last Wednesday night? And then the number 2 team in the nation, Texas, and who knows, they could be playing for a number 1 ranking if Frank Martin and Kansas State are able to come through. Now let me show you the new top 10 that was released earlier this afternoon. You can see very, very close between Kansas and Texas. Ohio State and Pittsburgh also got first place votes on the part of the coaches, and I'm sure that there are some who feel that Duke should be the number 1 team in the country. They're 23-2, but a lot of people seem to have jumped off that bandwagon after Irving went down with an injury, but that's still a pretty good basketball team.
If this game continues as it is, Brett, today's top 10 will be outdated.
Exactly. Kansas with only 1 timeout left. I want to ask you about that, Bob. And Kelly steps out. The Jayhawks are in deep trouble.
Did a great job right there. It's that ball reversal and then getting something out of it, whether it's a cutter or they didn't come out on Kelly that time. And that's the second shot he's hit from that spot.
Back to a 14 again. And Markeith Morris is fouled.
When the Morrises get the ball inside, you've got to try to force them up high after they get it so you get help coming back down on top of them.
So Self gave an earful. We've got a timeout. We are back, and the Kansas State Wildcats are starting to feel it. 60-46 with 11.5 minutes to go. And it has been some offense that they've shown tonight, Coach.
Well, we're going to look here. The ball's taken down the left side. There's a pass into the post man right away, but they choose to let that go. Now watch the cutter come from up on top. There he is open, and he makes a really good move inside, cutting toward the ball. You've got to beat the cutter to the spot. Now, the cutter right here, the defensive man in the post goes with the cutter, and they reverse it to Kelly, and he hits the bucket. 2 great offensive possessions for Kansas State because of movement that involved the postman picking up somebody else.
And Samuels committed his 4th foul. That's why Markeith is on the free throw line. And let's check in now with Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach Knight, it seems like maybe you were just in that last Frank Martin huddle because that's exactly what he was talking about. The whole huddle, he talked about the importance of the cutters in the lane. He said, if we're sharp, we're going to get something. He also made the important point of the second cutter has to be just as good. So, Coach, you just read it like a book.
They have played very well offensively here tonight. Jacob Pullen, of course, with 27 points. Season high, out on top. Their postmen are really active, no matter who's in there.
very active. Now he went a little bit too deep with it, but I think they're going to get the ball back. Had a really good look for Kelly inside. If they'd have dumped it in with the ball up on top at the foul line, or a little above.
Got 14 on that shot clock as they take it out of bounds.
They're going to bring Pullen off the screen here, right there.
Gets inside, Morningstar drives through, can't finish. Marcus Morris defensive rebound. Every trip critical now for the Jayhawks. Bad pass, double team down low. Got it, Kelly out. Here comes Pullen, foot race. Gives it up to Irving. He can't finish. The follow though is right there. Great hustle by Rodney Magruder.
Great pass by Pullen, and even better hustle by Magruder. That move that Magruder just made there should be shown to every kid playing basketball.
Markeith jacks up a three. And the Wildcats coming back again. They've got it down to 10.5 now, and number one is in trouble.
Ooh, they had Spradling open. They just didn't look for him.
Now
Here comes the first cutter. There he is.
Seven on the shot. Pulling for 30. Got it! A 30-point night for Jacob Pullen.
There's a little bit of a defeatist look in the Kansas players coming off the court right here, Brent. Almost like, hey, we're doing all we can and we're not getting anywhere.
And this is the most that the Jayhawks have trailed anybody by this season. Go back in history, the Jayhawks have lost only once here. It's amazing. 2008, capacity crowd. Michael Beasley at 25 and 6 rebounds. Jacob Pullen was a freshman that night. He scored 20 points, and Bill Walker chipped in 22. And that snapped a 19-game losing streak to the Jayhawks. Kansas State was a very good team that year. They were number 2 in the nation. And Holly, Bill Self and the Jayhawks, what are they saying on their side?
Well, Coach Self just got on Markeith Morris for that three-point shot he just launched. He said, hey, I want Tyrell Reed and Brady Morningstar shooting our perimeter shots, not you. Markeith barked back a little bit, but guys, they're getting a little frustrated and they're going to start shooting from long range.
This may in the end be a really good game for Kansas, because they're not going to come into something again as confident and as full of themselves as they did today. This could be a real lesson for them that makes them a better basketball team the rest of the season.
The Wildcats know how important this is to finish this win. Give themselves still an outside chance to get back to the NCAAs. They made it to the Elite Eight a year ago. A huge game, but can they finish? 9.5, and Morningstar drains a 3. Finishing. Coach, you know how critical that is in a situation like that.
And patience, and shoot free throws for Kansas State. Those two things are going to be instrumental in them winning this ball game if they end up doing so, and that's what's got them where they are. Ooh, nice move inside.
Enriquez Roberts fronted well by Marcus. You can see what a matchup problem is Enriquez Roberts.
But he does a very good job of moving inside. He's tough to defend in there.
You bet he is. 6 on the shot. Jacob Pullen didn't get to the free throw line, missed it. Now the Jayhawks, can they put together field goals? Here comes Taylor. Inside of Spradling. Score it. And 1. Spradling fouls him, puts him on the free throw line. Not going to go quietly into the night. You can bet on that.
Every time that Kansas gives up a bucket, or Kansas State gives up a bucket, it's important that at the other end, K-State is really working to get to the free throw line.
Coach, how important is it right now with 8:47 to go that Bill Self and the Jayhawks are out of timeouts in this situation?
You know, they've had to call timeouts. I've never really hesitated if I thought a timeout was necessary, Brent, but there's going to be a 4-minute timeout for sure, so they've got one more that's going to be called automatically. And they can do a lot from the bench and get done what they have to, but this patience that K-State has been by far the best I've seen them on the offensive end this year.
Well, it's a tribute to Frank Martin and the coaching staff. Spradling nails a 3-ball.
Well, they've done a great job in getting away from what they were doing that wasn't getting them anywhere, and playing offensively this way with patience, with everybody involved, with people doing what they do best. Well, that was a little, that was a shot because I made the last one. I'm going to take this one. Let it run for 20, 25 minutes. Make Kansas guard you. Don't throw up a shot that all they have to do is rebound it to get it back. Make them guard you.
Now, what Frank needs to do is finish with his guys. Keep them calm. Keep them doing what they've done over there, and show them that there's total poise on that sideline right now when you finish something like this off.
They need to be taking shots after they've used up some time. They didn't have any screening there to get open. That's the first time that they've gotten hung up on the baseline, but they did not screen to get anybody open.
Little on the floor, puts it down, drives, penetrates, gets tied up, and Withy. Traveling is called. And we'll take a break. Number one in deep trouble in Manhattan. All right, Maurice, and Cupid here in Manhattan has been enjoying this Valentine's Day very, very much.
I think that Coach Self has given the Morrises a little bit of a lesson right here, because neither one of them is in the game here at this point going down the wire.
Enriquez Roberts, who's played well. Spradling stays on the floor despite getting an earful from Coach Martin.
And then he didn't take the shot that time. He look, they've got 12 seconds left. This is a great way to handle things here.
Kick to the corner now with 5. They've got to go. And Enriquez Roberts got almost an offensive rebound. Really great play for the Jayhawks. 7 minutes now.
Really good help inside by Kansas State.
Reed will look for the shot. The floater. Withy battles for the rebound. Jump hook is a beauty by the 7-footer. 6:47. Down by 13. It's not over yet.
But there's nothing they want to change. They want to go from side to side. They want to keep working until they've got something that looks good. Good movement by Pullen. He didn't throw it away.
Russell on the floor. He hasn't played much tonight, but Frank's got him out there in crunch time. 5 now on the shot. Pullen gonna go. Ball fake, fire, 3! 33!
Well, when he picks it up, you have got to get into him. The last 2 shots he's made, the defense has allowed him to go up unobstructed, and you've got to get into his hands.
Oh, a beautiful finish. Down in low by Johnson. Hold on.
I think they're going to say that that's a taunting foul there. Johnson said something or did something after he dunked the ball instead of just keeping quiet and going on and play. I think there's going to be a 2-shot foul in possession here.
And Johnson has been taken out by Self. Johnson goes to the sideline. Danny Manning over there with a word with him. So Pullen will come up to shoot after the technical, and looking for his all-time high. He has matched his career high.
It was an unsportsmanlike conduct or a taunting foul, and that results in 2 shots and the ball.
And there is his career mark, 35 points for Jacob Pullen.
See, Kansas has been careless this whole ball game, and that's just another example. A kid makes a good play, going inside, he gets a bucket, and then he has to say something.
You know, Coach, not only are they beating them, they're leaving the Jayhawks with some issues. We've seen some body language over here on the bench that's not good for the Jayhawks.
Well, you know, we started in the beginning talking a little bit about human nature and about them coming in here after having beaten them so badly, and I think that K-State has reacted extremely well. Hey, these guys just hammered us, but we're not that much worse than they are. We can play with these guys. That's where the coaches at K-State have done a great job getting set up in this game.
Russell at the other end, and now here for Kansas, Selby, who had missed 3 games with a foot injury, back on the floor, and he's fouled. He'll come to the free throw line, and Kelly returning for the Wildcats here after the first free throw. And there's Selby's first point in 4 games. First point here tonight as Kelly checks back in. And this is tonight's game track. Brought to you by Cisco. Jacob Pullen with the 35. The Morrisons have been held to 16. .5:28 to go.
Boy, Enrique Roberts has done a great job in this game tonight. He's been far more impressive than either of the Morris twins inside playing. He and Kelly have really dominated the inside play.
He is a very improved basketball player, number 21.
Absolutely. I mean, they've gotten, Magruder has really helped them. This is a different team. You got more people that are helping here than ever before. Magruder's helped them, and Enrique Roberts has really done a good job with them.
You know, we'd be talking about a winning streak, except for a tough break on Saturday afternoon. The winning basket was just a fraction of a second late being released by the shooter, or they would have won that game.
Well, and then Southwell's another guy that's made a real contribution tonight. They've done a great job getting this team ready, not just one guy like Pullen. And this is the best that I've seen Pullen utilize his skills in any game that I've seen him play.
I am impressed that this team did not quit. And I'm talking about Kansas State overall, the way they were going, put back by little. I mean, they have really put on a show. This is what we expected to see this year with this basketball team when you think of it.
Well, they've combined everything tonight. They've had good inside play. Pullen has played within himself for the most part. He's played extremely well, and he's shot well too, but he's known when he's had the shot, and they haven't made very many bad plays.
Battle for the loose ball, and a foul on Kansas. Little. Foul Russell. I'm going to take you back to Saturday. I want you to watch Rodney Magruder, and you'll see the clock at the top of the backboard. It's clear that it had zeroed out. That appeared to be the winning hoop. You can see the bench explode, but look at these zeros there. Just a fraction of a second, or they would have won that game. And meanwhile, it was Tad Boyle, who's a Kansas graduate and now coaching Colorado. He played with Danny Manning, who was over here back in '85. Colorado will come into Kansas next Saturday at 2 Eastern on ESPN. It's Colorado, Kansas, Saturday at 2 Eastern on ESPN. Holly, that was a very tough loss for them on Saturday.
That was, and not only that, but they didn't get back here to Manhattan, Kansas till about 2:30 in the morning on Sunday. So this has been a very quick turnaround from an energy standpoint. But Frank Martin said, I've tried to build a culture here in Manhattan, win or lose. We wake up the next morning and we go to work. And guys, tonight they've certainly done that.
No question.
Well, Holly, that's just part of the coaches. What a job they've done. That was a heartbreaking loss to them in Colorado, but then coming back and playing Kansas as they have has been very, very impressive.
And Russell brought fresh legs off the bench, and he has contributed here in crunch time.
Everybody they've used, this has been a great contribution has come from each kid that's been in this ball game, and that hasn't been the case with Kansas. They've not gotten out of 3 or 4 guys what they have to be good.
So Frank Martin using the timeout now to go over the last 4:12 here. And of course, a reminder, tomorrow night, Ohio State ranked number 3 this afternoon, but they know that number 1 is about to fall, it appears. They'll host Michigan State. Now Michigan State, they need a similar night like Kansas State. Big difference though when you got to go to Columbus and you're not in East Lansing.
That'll be a big game though for the Buckeyes. And, you know, they suffered that first defeat, and now I think Thad Matta will do a great job getting them to come. I wouldn't want to be playing them now, particularly in Columbus. I think where that game is. But I think, you know, sometimes this game will help Kansas in the long run.
Well, you can see the tournament resume there for the Spartans. They're 3-7 against the top 50. Remember, this will be the first top 50 win for Kansas State. We showed you their resume earlier tonight. But this is something that the Wildcats can build on, because there's so much of 500 basketball in the conferences when you look around the country. There's a couple of good teams here and there in each conference, but then the rest of it is kind of a mismatch.
You know what I think you have to do from a coaching standpoint after this game is get that K-State team in the locker room immediately. Don't let them out here celebrating and interacting with the crowd. Get them off the floor, get them inside and say, hey, this is the way we should play. There's no reason we don't play every game like this. And for us to lose some of the games we have, then we should be ashamed of ourselves when we can beat a team like Kansas like we did tonight. And I think that would be important in the growth of this team, is not letting them rest with this win, but saying, why weren't we playing like this all year? You can do it now. We got the rest of the year to play like this.
Take the Kansas side now. You've talked about Frank Martin and Kansas State. What about Bill Self and the Jayhawks?
I think you just say, hey, boys, we didn't come to play. We didn't play as well as we were. Let's go home and let's reconstruct ourselves. Let's get back to the way we played. I mean, like, this is what, Kansas' second or third loss. I think third loss maybe for the second, for the season. And now, you know, heck, they're going to be a seeded team. They're going to be, you don't need to make a big issue out of it, but you do need to say, hey, you've just proven that we can't beat people playing anything other than our best.
Number 1 for less than 24 hours. And about to taste a big-time whipping down the road in Manhattan.
Just a simple pass like was made there. Eats up time. Keep it going. You don't have to score. You don't have to try like they did there on the post.
So we've got an injured Wildcat player down at the free throw line. Well, with less than a minute gone when this game began, Kansas led it by 3. That was their last lead. Kansas State is led by as many as 20 as we take a look at the big picture brought to you by Sony. Georgetown red hot right now. Tough break for Florida State with the loss of Chris Singleton. Xavier's had a huge week. And Arizona now leads the Pac-10 in a big game against Washington on ESPN on Saturday. Full court pressure by the Jayhawks. 3:30 now. And another number 1 is about to fall. Saturday, Ohio State fell at Madison, Wisconsin. Here tonight in Manhattan, Kansas, the Jayhawks are going to go down at the hands of the Kansas State Wildcats. A beautiful game orchestrated by Jacob Cullen. His career best here tonight. Struggled somewhat this season on the drive, and Withy puts him on the free throw line.
Again, Pullen recognized that he had an opening, and he took it all the way to the bucket. And he takes it right in. He is a tough kid. When he's going to the bucket, he's not afraid of getting smacked when he get in there, and this is going to come away with 2 points for him.
That was the collision with Kelly and Russell. And that was the injury that Russell incurred on it as Pullen comes to the free throw line with 35. And he is now 12 of 16 from the free throw line. He's hit 5 of 6 threes tonight. 9 of 17 from the floor.
You know, Brent, in all but one of his threes, it's been a very good shot, too. And the one he came down, remember, he came down real quick and shot it at the beginning of a possession.
Final 3 minutes. Morning Stars 3 off the iron. Selby with an offensive rebound, dribbles it back, and he'll come back with the 3. And a foul is going to be called. And it's on Pullen.
He got Relaford from behind.
That's his first personal tonight.
You know, I've been critical of Pullen in past games, but tonight, I mean, he has played like there's no better guard in this conference than he is. And there have been a couple of mistakes, but boy, it hasn't just been the fact that he scored. It's been how he scored and how he's brought other players into the game and how he's kept from hurting his team.
He doesn't want to have to back up that NIT talk. He still wants to go to the NCAAs, and he's given himself a chance here tonight. Trust me. This team's alive. Knocked away. Forced a turnover. Morningstar. And Spradling's got it back.
Well, that was unfortunate that he said that. You know, I didn't like that. I don't think people that really like basketball appreciated that. The NIT's done an awful lot for college basketball over the years, and it isn't something.
Yeah, you know, he might have said it out of frustration, too. You know, after a tough loss.
But, you know.
Did you ever say anything out of frustration?
Maybe once.
Here is Jacob coming up to the free throw line.
But you know, I'll tell you, the other part of this team that's really impressed me has been Enrique Roberts and Kelly. And they started out, Samuel's got a bucket early, and then he's contributed a little bit. But Enrique Roberts, Magruder, Kelly, they've all done things inside. They have been a very, very difficult team with good depth to play against here tonight. And we look at this, you know, Kansas has never been in the game. They've never looked like they were going to have a chance to win this game.
That puts Jacob Pullen at 38 points. Okay, a 38-point here tonight. And for the most part, he's been the floor leader. Spradling's helped him occasionally, but most of the time the ball's been in Pullen's hands. Selby on a running floater. And underneath, it's a held ball situation. Jayhawk basketball, 157.
Well, that's another example of these kids being tough. I mean, Enrique right there just worked the ball away from the Kansas kid's hands and just tough. He hung on in there. The big kids have been very good for the Wildcats.
So another one is going to bite the dust. Buckeyes Saturday, Jayhawks on Monday.
Buckeyes stayed in a little bit longer than the Jayhawks did.
Yes, they did. So you would think that Texas has got a very good chance to be next in line, but I don't want to jinx anybody. You know, because the Buckeyes, Pittsburgh, Duke, you can make an argument for any of them.
Well, Kansas State playing like this, with the depth that they have, and Pullen playing like he has. Now, we're not going to get 38 points out of Pullen every game. That's just not going to happen. But if he just plays the game the way he did tonight, good things are going to happen, and the rest of these kids are going to make good contributions.
You know, it's interesting because Pullen was the preseason Big 12 Player of the Year, and tonight he really played like it.
Well, he's looked like it tonight. But this has been the first time that he's had a game like this, where he hasn't forced the issue a lot and created problems for his team, rather than be an asset in all respects. He's really good with the ball. He's hard to get the ball away from. How good was that? He backed it off.
Jayhawks will bring it down here. You know, the Kansas State fans, they're not sure how to celebrate as tap back in, because they're loving this. Because let me go back to that stat, Bob, at the top of the game. Kansas has beaten Kansas State 42 of the last 44 times they've played.
That's just amazing. When you told me that before the game, I couldn't get over that, because Kansas State has had a lot of good teams over the years, over all that time. And at various times, I've had teams play Kansas State, and they were never easy to play against.
Hang on. I think we're going to have a little court rushing here in Manhattan.
Where's Holly? Let's get Holly out of danger.
Final 30 seconds. I think we heard her in the background tell us that she is ready. Selby tracks it down, brings it quickly to the attack. And Rutherford will be at the free throw line with 21.8 to go here.
Kansas has had some poor expressions during this game. I was looking at Selby, and I don't know, it looks like he's kind of pouting a little bit because he didn't get to play more, and I think he's taken 5 shots while he's been in there and hasn't made any. They'll have to have a little meeting to get back to where they were. I think by the time they play their next game, they'll have ironed things out and they'll get back. But this was not a game where they had the same kind of momentum and intensity that their opponent had in the beginning.
Well, they come back at home with Colorado. Afternoon game at 1 o'clock. That's on Saturday, and then Monday night we'll be back in Lawrence for Oklahoma State. So they've got 2 home games to recoup, you know, get their egos back together, because Kansas State has taken down number 1. Let's go quickly down to Hollywood. Jacob Pullen.
Jacob, how are you able to stay under control and play within yourself in the first half of this ball game?
It was tough. You know, I really just wanted to be really efficient and just take good shots. And coach just told me not to worry about my offense, but to keep playing basketball. And, you know, some shots fell, and I just got into a rhythm.
Kansas has come back from big leads in this building, and they pulled within 5 right after halftime. But how did you prevent them from closing the door?
We just wanted to stay the course. You know, as the locker room, that's all we talked about, was we knew they was going to make a run. We just wanted to stay the course. And my teammates did a great job of defending and rebounding, and then we happened to make shots like we didn't do last time we played.
How do you describe this turnaround? You had a beat down against you guys in Lawrence 2 weeks ago. How did you turn it around like this?
Just hard work. You know, my teammates never gave up hope. You know, a lot of people doubt us, a lot of people write us off, and we just come in the gym every day with the same attitude that we got to get better. And, you know, all the credit go to my teammates and my coaching staff, because we just prepared well for this game.
How can you build on this win now and finish out this season strong?
We just got to continue to work hard. We can't let this affect us like it did last year when we beat Texas. We got to get back in the gym the next day and continue to work hard.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, Holly, thank you very much. So at Lawrence, Kansas won 90-66. They come back to Manhattan, and K-State returns the favor 84-68. Coming up next on ESPN SportsCenter. For Bob Knight, Holly Rowe, and our entire crew, I'm Brent Musburger. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. So